Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Tyson Fury, he knows how to generate headlines, and laying into Anthony Joshua, it was always going to get him a fair amount of coverage. And it just so happens he's got a fight coming up in a few weeks, so how about that for timing, right? I'll get into the clip in question, the thoughts from Tyson Fury, followed by a few thoughts of my own. Then on to some broader Tyson Fury news. First up, the rant everyone is talking about, with the Gypsy King labelling Anthony Joshua a disgrace.
I think it's such a sad time for heavyweight boxing because you've got the so-called super champion and golden boy, Anthony Joshua, and he is avoiding Deontay Wilder and will not fight him at any costs. If you're not going to fight someone for 40 million, you're not going to fight him for anything. It's a disgrace, and he's a disgrace to boxing. And I think it needs somebody good enough to step up and take on the challenges and not be afraid. Not be afraid to take risks and go to people's backyards and do it. Can you imagine if I went to America and beat Deontay Wilder in America after beating Klitschko in Germany? That would be sensational. It might happen. Who knows? Wait for the news.
Wait for the news. Wait for the news indeed. Judging by the rate of this comeback and the current level of opponent, that news may not be coming for quite some time. But if I'm honest, I would like that fight. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, be a good fight. I think it'd be quite an awkward sort of style matchup. You know, both those guys can be quite tricky. It'd be interesting. Who'd be the one charging forward on the front foot? Tyson Fury, maybe? Deontay Wilder, would he have that level of confidence, thinking perhaps Tyson Fury wouldn't be able to? I mean, there's lots of things to go through and think about with that fight. Certainly an interesting style matchup. But in terms of the comments that Fury made about Joshua, controversial to a point, yes indeed, but also it does, in some respects, mirror the disappointment of fans. And he's also playing up to a section of boxing fans who believe Anthony Joshua does not want that fight for love nor money. I must admit, I was actually expecting a couple of weeks ago when this thing fell through, I was expecting this Wilder and Joshua thing just to blow over to some extent because, well, Anthony Joshua is now facing his WBA mandatory Alexander Povetkin. I thought, well, we'll be able to put this back in the bottle for a while. It won't completely go away, but it's probably going to die down a bit. But in some respects, it's been anything but. You know, from what I'm seeing and hearing, it's just bubbled on. And that's both sides sort of coming out, you know, almost every day or second day. It's got a little bit quieter more recently. But even Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn have been stoking the fire in the last week or so, announcing that their side of the contract for the Wilder fight, it was signed. And remember, this is the same contract that will pay Deontay Wilder $15 million, 7 times his highest payday. And it's also the same contract that Deontay Wilder has said is effectively in the trash now and that they need to start negotiations over again. So that was said prior to that contract being signed. So I kind of wonder, you know, with PR purposes, get that signed, put some pressure on, but the negotiation, it was already a dead duck. It was dead in the water. I mean, to me, within a few days of the Povetkin fight being called, mentally, I'd completely moved on. I was sick and tired of hearing each side giving their positions every day in the media with something new, a bit of a detail or an email or something that was said, or just rearranging the facts to suit their narrative. You know, the other side is the bad guy. Oh my God, how tiresome is that? It's become so petty, so tit for tat. It's all become a bit ridiculous, you know, to the nth degree. I'm feeling fatigued as anything by this ongoing mess. And hence why I've been ignoring talking about, you know, the whole situation, doing any such videos, because I'd rather just focus on the fights that have been made or look possible that they will or that are about to happen. And then I got sent a few links, some comments that Anthony Joshua had made about a week ago. I got quite a number of links, people wanting me to check out the various articles with the quotes, with Joshua saying, This career isn't determined by what people want. It's my career. I've always pulled for and done what was right for myself, which has ultimately led me to becoming a champion. I get what he's saying, but in the same breath, a couple of months ago, he was also saying he wanted to fight in the UK because he wanted to give back to the fans. His fans. And his fans clearly wanted the fight, as did the opposing fans. Everyone seemed to want the fight, but apparently the fight wasn't big enough, and apparently there was just not enough sort of runway to get this deal done because of the Povetkin mandatory. And now it falls into next year, 6-8 months' time. That's disappointing in itself, but it's a reality now, and fight is going to be bigger. So I guess, all these people who are saying that, this whole thing was always designed to fall over and go into next year, well, they can sort of pat themselves on the back, because that looks like it is playing out exactly like that. And the fight probably will be bigger next year. But we're hearing now Joshua is saying his career isn't determined by what people want. But then he was saying the whole fan stuff just a couple months ago. I mean, I look at this and go, well, do these things line up? Do they actually line up? Is there a bit of a contradiction here? Has he sort of said something that doesn't quite gel with what he was saying earlier? So it was about the fans, but now it's not about what people want. Let me know your thoughts on that. I do think Tyson Fury, he's looking to build on some of the sentiment that's floating around this whole sort of thing, that Anthony Joshua doesn't want the fight, because he can help his own profile in the situation, or benefit from the situation, stoke the fire for a potential fight down the line with Deontay Wilder. He probably knows that Anthony Joshua, a fight with him, right now, it's a bit out of reach, just because with where he's at, he wouldn't stand a chance of getting a decent cut of the pie. And even if he does come back, get a few good wins under his belt, he's probably still not going to get 50-50. Ultimately, he wants to try work towards at least something close to that. And if he does end up having a fight with Anthony Joshua, it would be a mega fight, just as a Deontay Wilder fight is going to be a mega fight with Anthony Joshua. So Tyson Fury knows that, some of his future career earnings, if he can play things right and eventually get to a Anthony Joshua fight, well, he's going to, the longer it waits, the longer it builds, and if he starts to look good, well, his payday is going to be bigger for it. And a Deontay Wilder fight, that can certainly help increase that paycheck. But even then, realistically, that fight, it's about a year away probably. And I did a video on talking about that scenario with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and the fact Fury is now ranked, so it makes a fight possible. But I think, this time next year for that fight, at the earliest, and I'll link to that video at the end of this one. But I did have a chuckle when Fury talked about Joshua not wanting challenges. But then he's right now preparing to face a faded Francesco Pianeta. But because he was out for 2.5 years, he blew up bigger than Jarrell Miller. I'm willing to cut him some slack. For now. Just for now. Because he does need these tune-up fights. In his first fight back, Sefer Seferi as the opponent, that was proof enough that he needs the tune-ups. But if we cut to, a couple of shots here, Fury is looking like he's continued to lose more weight, and he should weigh in less than the 276 pounds that he did for the Seferi fight. You can see from the photo on the left, there's less of a muffin top, he's not looking as flabby, and just in terms of how it's all going and on the training front, Fury has had this to say on social media.
Hi guys, just a quick update on training. Training's going fantastic, sparring's going well, the weight's coming on very good. Feeling great, everything's going as it should. 4 weeks out, can't wait, counting down the days. Big shout out MTK Global.
But Fury, he does look like he's slowly winding his way back into things. But again, I'm not expecting vintage Fury in the second fight either against Francesco Pianeta. So that's August the 18th at Windsor Park on the Carl Frampton undercard. So it's probably lucky that he's not the headliner, simply for the fact that, there was a bit of pressure coming on him from the public at least after that Seferi performance. It wasn't what people wanted to see. It was a safe move, put him on the Frampton undercard, and it does sort of take the heat off, and there's been less eyeballs on him, and he's been able to go out about his business the training for this upcoming fight with perhaps just a little bit less scrutiny, than there otherwise would have been if he'd been, say, topping a bill. But as long as he keeps increasing the opposition, he starts to look increasingly better. It signals progress. And, who knows, he could surprise me and look $1 million against Pianeta. But I wouldn't put any money on that, and I just think he needs rounds. He needs to blow away 2.5 years of ring rust, and if he does look better, that's good, because it's progress, it's another step, and then on to the next one. But don't expect anyone good anytime soon. Maybe by the end of the year or early next year, he might step up to someone we go, well, that person is half a risk, but they're going to match him very carefully. He needs the rounds. They're not going to put him in there just to, get beat and then lose a chance at mega squillions of dollars against either Wilder or Joshua or someone else who's coming up that can give him a payday. He also did tweet recently that Fury, that fight, drew in 814,000 on BT Sport, which he claimed was the biggest audience for a subscription service in the UK for this year. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here. What do you make of it all? Is Tyson Fury, is he bashing Joshua just to get his name out there a little bit more? Or does Joshua deserve some criticism? Or is it a bit of both? And what are you expecting when he takes on Francesco Pianeta? Do you see him, having a better performance? And if he gets past him, what next? Is Deontay Wilder, a fight with him happening anytime soon? I would think not, but, it's boxing. Stranger things happen. And have happened. Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.